The GoreCast is brought to you by American Horrors, the greatest uncut horror channel in the world. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all horror. As well as the Station of Decapitation Without Your Head,
America's longest running horror channel, www.withoutyourhead.com.
The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
What's up, everybody? And it is Tuesday, which means we are here for another episode of Original versus Remake. Don't adjust your sets. Yes, I'm wearing a do-rag. Deal with it. Don't know why. It's just what I put on. So it's Tuesday, and that means like I said, we're doing Original versus Remake tonight, featuring They're Coming to Get You, Barbara. Night of the Living Dead. I guess a couple of 18 different remakes, I guess, that I found out today that they made, I guess. I didn't like Johnny was like, which one are we doing today? I'm like, 68 and 90. He's like, well, there was 106 and maybe in 12. And I was like, son of a bitch. Yeah. They really beat a dead horse with that one. So,
but the others that I've seen though were not as good as these two. That's
why I figured we'd do the earlier two, the original and the earliest remake, because those were probably the best. So, how's it going, Carter?
Good. How about you, man?
I'm doing good. It's been quiet in my house for the last few days because the kids are on vacation. So, I'm able to think, I'm able to poop in peace. So, cannot complain at all.
That is important in life.
Yes. Just sit down and be like, Daddy, Dad. I'm like, nope. Go away for possibly a half hour because this is my freedom from children. That's why I'm like, why does it take you that long to poop? I'm like, don't worry about it. When you get older and you have kids, you'll understand.
So, as usual, we're always off to an interesting start.
Yeah, we'll just give little snippets of my life. So,
how about we do a quick shout out to Roddy, Katie, Brian, and Giz.
Hi, everybody.
And just so you know, they're all really intrigued by the whole bandana.
Oh, my do-rag? Yeah. I thought you were going to say me pooping. I was like, then they got some problems.
Oddly enough, nobody's really curious.
It's lighter on my head, guys, and I'm sitting down, so whatever I can do to make my life and existence a little bit easier, I'm gonna go with it.
There you go.
So there we go. So welcome to this beautiful show that we do every Tuesday. We're gonna slide into a little bit of serious news because we're gonna go into the news. The horror community, not just really the horror community, but movie community in general, lost a legend over the weekend. The passing of John Saxton at 83 years young. It was yes, well, everybody says old, so I just, you know me.
I don't know. I always hear both. Like, oh, he was 91 years young. And I'm like, okay.
You say so, crazy person.
Right.
Horror community knows him probably well for the Nightmare on Elm Street few movies that he did. The first film, the third film, and then Wes Craven's New Nightmare, where he played himself. He was in other horror movies like Blood Beach, Tenenbaum, or Tenenbray. I'm sorry, not Tenenbaum. Has a lot of other ones. You said that he did something on Masters of Horror, I believe.
Yeah,
you were saying.
The episode was called Pelts.
Okay. And then his last film that we found out was something about Lance Henriksen.
Bring Me the Head of Lance Hendrickson. Apparently, it was in a post production when he passed.
Oh, really? So it's something that hasn't come out yet.
Right.
Obviously,
So I'm kind of curious on that one. But like we were just tripping, or like I just tripped over as we were talking, so I haven't had a real chance to.
Yeah, but it sounds like something that probably is maybe like a documentary. Maybe would sound like it. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe the actual movie,
or it could just be like a fun spoof.
Yeah.
So either way, I'm kind of stoked to try to find more about it.
Yeah, he, especially from like some of the movies that I've seen, he plays a cop a lot. From what I've noticed, he's got that presence.
Right.
Where he plays a cop very well. Like I said, he did it in the Nightmare on Elm Street films. I believe he did it in Blood Beach. Not familiar with like obviously all of his resume, but I know those are a couple films that I've seen, and he was a policeman.
Well, and you've got the one that a lot of people tend to bring up the most is like Enter the Dragon.
Yeah. Yep.
So
yeah, definitely a sad time right now, because we also, I mean, this isn't kind of in the horror genre, but maybe he showed up in a horror movie. I don't know. But Regis Philbin also passed away the same day as Mr. John Saxton. So I'm sure he interviewed horror people at some point. I don't know. I was just trying to tie him in. So still another TV icon lost.
Yeah, right. No, lost a few good ones.
So sucks. I don't know where else to go. Kind of a somber opening, but
we'll shed that quiet tear and move on to the next one.
Yeah, let's move on to the next news bit, which is a film that actually I believe just came out not too long ago, called Amulet. It is now available on demand. This was from the 24th, which was about 4 days ago, so over the weekend. Amulet came out, and it is about following an accident that leaves him homeless in London. Former soldier Tomaz is brought to the rotting home of Magda, a lonely woman in desperate need of help as she looks after her dying mother. Though at first resistant, Magda eventually welcomes him into their lives and allows him to help her care for them. But as he worms his way into their routine and begins to fall for Magda, Tomaz starts to notice strange, unexplainable, and ugly phenomena. Something seems very wrong with the mysterious old woman who never leaves the top floor, and Magda may, in fact, be enslaved to do her otherworldly bidding. Yeah, that should be. I don't know what else besides what I just read, so I didn't see any trailers or anything. These were news bits that were previous that were going to be brought up, but we had to cover today. So I didn't really look into. No, this is the second.
But hey, the poster looks cool, and it's on demand. So
yeah, it, like I said, it just came out. I believe it would have been on like Saturday or Sunday. It says the 24th. So it should be a interesting look. Gonna need you to stall for a couple seconds because the phone is being stupid.
All right, so we got one more news bit, and then we get to jump into some cool talks about the original versus remake Night of the Living Dead.
Yes. Okay, I found it. Bear with me while technology. Okay, so Hellstorm. There's a trailer. Hulu brings hell to Comic-Con at home. I don't know if a lot of you knew, but San Diego Comic-Con was supposed to kind of take place over the last weekend, but obviously because of current situations, that didn't happen. So a lot of like trailers and releases and stuff were announced over the weekend. New Mutants, and this also must be one of them. No, actually, it's
It's
supposed to
like a
come
kid
out. It
with a
has a release date, August 28th, motherfuckers. August 28th.
Yeah, we'll see.
If it doesn't come out, I'm punching something hard. I'm very angry.
I will say, like, I checked out the teaser trailer because
seasons.
it's doesn't come out until like October, I think. But the teaser trailer it really doesn't give you a whole bunch to look at, but if you know the subject matter, it is
October
kind of
October 16th of 2020 is the release date. It is
And I think
actually a series.
once, like all the episodes.
Yeah, it's a 10-episode series. What it's about is, as the son and daughter of a mysterious and powerful serial killer, Hellstorm follows Damien and Anna, and their complicated dynamic as they track down the worst of humanity, each with their own attitude and skill. With us. Yeah, it's the trailer, like I said, just got released over the weekend for it actually says it's a Marvel series.
Yeah.
It looks like. I did not know that. I see. You know me. I don't read stories ahead of time. I just be like, oh, showtime. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I was saying, like, the trailer gives you like nothing. It's just a short and sweet teaser. But if you know the subject matter, it's like, oh, this could be pretty fucking good. It's kind of dark, so if it holds to material, like, it could be pretty fucking good.
Kind of interested with it being a Marvel thing that it's on Hulu. I don't know. Disney owns ABC, which owns Hulu, so never mind. That makes sense now.
Right.
I was gonna say it would make more sense on Disney Plus, but
there was talk at one point that they were going to kind of keep the kids stuff on Disney and then kind of keep the dark stuff and maybe kick that to Hulu,
which makes sense. That was kind of like the whole like issue where they thought with like some of the, especially with like the 20th Century Fox films that Disney acquired, probably trying to figure out if they were going to, put those somewhere where they would go. I don't think adults would be thrilled, but like I don't think a lot of kids want to be going on Disney Plus and watching Aliens. So that's why they got Hulu.
Cinema says it right. Just say Disney owns everything.
Yeah. Disney probably owns us, and we just don't know it.
Right.
They don't own my do-rag, though. It's mine, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I don't think they would want to, but... So that's Hailstorm. That should be coming out. When I read that, I thought it had to do with like the band, like Hailstorm. I was like, why are we talking about Hailstorm? But it's Hailstorm. Very similar. I'm rambling, so let's go ahead and go on to the movie. So,
all right,
that's what the people are here for, not for us to bumble through news bits.
That's what they try to show up for, but as we've warned them, it's never really a planned thing. It just kind of sidetracks randomly.
Yeah, that's my middle name, Sidetrack. Night of the Living Dead, 1968. Starring some people I don't remember. You're the go-to actor list person.
Well, the lead star was Dune Jones, Judith O'Dea.
That's what
is that who you're looking for?
That's lady who plays Barbara.
Yeah,
Judith. Yeah. The one thing I really loved about the opening of this movie is that the brother, Barbara's brother, Johnny, he was wearing some awesome driving gloves. That was totally the 60s. I mean, he was just
never understood it. But...
It makes sense for if you live in the hot climate area where like the car, like the steering wheel, like might like be actually hot. When you first get in the car, having some gloves kind of like don't burn your fingers on the steering wheel. But after that, then it's like, yeah, what are you trying to do? Looking cool, wearing some driving gloves.
I just think it was kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, well, he looked cool, I guess.
He did for like all of the 10 seconds he was alive.
So the film opens up with the two of them as they drive to a rural Pennsylvania cemetery to visit their father. I didn't think about it because I
Mother.
think it's what? No, this is the father in the original.
Oh,
Nick was the mother. That's what I was just saying. I had to make sure.
that's right.
They go to visit their father's grave, and all hell starts to break loose there. Johnny constantly teases Barbara. Like I said, heard that they're coming to get you, Barbara. And sure enough, they are. Some random ass dude just kind of stumble along in the cemetery. We don't really know. Kind of see them in the distance, and then they kind of don't really make much of it because it's just, oh, it's a cemetery, so I'm just visiting somebody else. And then the guy gets closer and closer, and then he attacks Barbara because he's a zombie. And I thought you were gonna say something.
No, I was going to say, like, I love the fact that you said zombie. I was like, I love the fact that, this is our first kind of like launch into all that. And we're calling them ghouls, like zombies they pick up that we kind of start using later on down the road.
Yeah, and this is like kind of one of the first films that kind of goes into what we know of like zombies as they are pretty much still to this day. Zombies before this were more of like under like voodoo control as opposed to the undead. So this was kind of one of the first films that brought us, I wouldn't say modern day zombie because we've been going on for 50, 60 years of it. So but that's what we still know of as zombies.
Right. And I mean, like, we've seen so many different versions. Some that, like, in this one, they're super slow. You got like the remake, Dawn of the Dead, where they're just like full sprinting behind you, stuff like that. I just kind of liked it. This one, like, they showed some intelligence there because old boy picked up the brick when he couldn't get the car. He's like, oh, brick. Like, he acknowledged it, picked it up, and then used it to try to break the window to get in there. And again, that's something that's kind of changed depending on the story because some of them don't have like that kind of thought, and some of them, like we've seen, do.
And with this, like I said, with this being early on, like there was no, at least, I mean, obviously I don't know because I wasn't born in '69 when this came out, but like obviously there wasn't like this is what a zombie, this is how you need to act like a zombie. So everybody that was like playing zombies kind of were doing their own little. They kind of did the little slow movements. Some of them kind of moved, not like running, but like the one guy that was kind of going after Barbara at the beginning, he kind of like almost looked like he was gonna like pick up a pace, but then so it wasn't the just dragging your foot along, like it seemed like each person that played it the zombie a little bit differently, which was kind of cool because it wasn't just like every single zombie, like I said, dragging their foot, moving like a mile an hour.
Now, Cinema pointed out, and I didn't know this, the original title for the movie was Night of the Flesh Eaters, but they had to change the name because there was already a film named that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Because we do see them kind of munching on some flesh towards the end. And obviously they do make mention.
We do see them kind of like, I think somebody had like a spare hand in one of the scenes that they were chomping on. Somebody even kind of pulled a bug off a tree, which I thought was kind of weird.
Oh, yeah. So after Barbara's attack, Johnny kind of tries to intervene. He gets his head crushed on a tombstone. So bye-bye, Johnny. I'm not you, Johnny. The other's the movie Johnny. So Barbara makes a run for it. She finds this house. She's in complete shock. Like she's
like straight shut down.
Like she gets to the house. She kind of is like hanging around in there. Then we're introduced to Ben. He shows up because he's trying to escape the zombies from where he was at. And he's just trying to, just get something from her. And she's like just not giving him anything. She won't listen. She's just staring off in the distance. And that's pretty much how she is for a good chunk of the rest of the movie.
Oh, yeah. She can like walk and breathe. That's about it.
Yeah. Ben's trying to do his best to, kind of figure out a way to kind of bunker down because he knows that like more of them are going to start finding him once they get their I almost say get their scent like they're fucking like dogs or something. I don't know what the fuck there, but like he knows that more are going to be coming. So he's doing his best, to board up the houses, like windows, doors, and all that shit. Trying to just have a little bit of a conversation with Barbara, trying to get her help just to help him out on just boarding stuff up, finding wood. My favorite part is like she's like, "Oh, can you go find me some wood?" She finds these like three little like twigs. He's pulling fucking like doors off the fucking frame. She's like, here's a couple little twigs. He's like,
well, that showed like they're like like everything was starting to kind of warm back up, like but she'd been through some shit,
Yeah. And then she starts to flip out and kind of is like, we need to get out, like we need to go. And she slaps Ben in the face. Ben cold cocks her in the chin, and then she's like knocked out for another like 10 or 15 minutes. Later on, we're introduced to. Let me see if I can find
Harry, Helen.
Yeah, because there's
and, Tom and Judy.
Yes. They were actually in the cellar or in the basement, trying to board themselves in for protection. They kind of heard they said like, "Why didn't you come help us? You heard all the noises." We're like, "Well, who says that it wasn't one of those things? Trying to get in here." And we heard the girl scream, and he's like, "Oh, who knows?" That guy was I don't know his last name. I always know by they always call him by his last name. Cooper, Mr. Cooper. I thought it was
the guy downstairs.
Not the actor, the character name.
Oh, gotcha.
I never really remembered his name was Harry. I just know him. He's like when Ben's always yelling, it's like, "Come on, Cooper!" So that's all I ever really remember his name by. Like you said, Harry and Helen, they have their daughter in the basement. She actually had gotten bitten by one of the zombies. But at this time, like I said, this is new, so we don't really know. I don't know if she technically turns by the bite or if she dies from the bite and then just becomes a zombie. I don't know. We don't really see her die.
We never really got in depth about that.
We know she dies, but
mom's sitting there like, "Oh, she's got a fever," and stuff like that. So we never really find out for sure.
Yeah.
Again, doing other stories, the bite definitely does it, and this one is just kind of a toss-up.
Yeah, because you look at like common, like you said, modern day zombie movies or TV shows or anything zombie related. You get one bite, you're turning fairly shortly. So I don't know if it's that is what happened to her, if she just died and then became a zombie. So what were the other two that we had?
Tom and Judy.
Okay. So Tom is kind of, torn between, staying in the basement with Harry and Helen or staying upstairs with Ben and Barbara. Ben kind of makes a good good suggestion, like, well, if we're stuck in the basement and they come, like, we can't get out. There's nowhere for us to go. At least upstairs, if they come, there's windows, doors. There's more of a chance to escape. So that kind of leads towards Tom kind of, all right, well, me and Judy, we're going to stay upstairs instead of stay in the basement. Harry's all about the basement life. He just wants to stay in the basement. He was like, well, you guys are going to stay up here, and if I lock this door, no one's coming in, and all that kind of bullshit.
Well, dude, and I mean, like, through the entire movie, it's just a toss-up of who's right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I agreed with the whole, like, if they swarm, yeah, we could, but we're having to jump out the same windows that we've been boarding up the entire movie. So now, back as you're, like, trying to rip off boards or some shit. But you've got the one out of the basement.
Yeah, you also got the fact with the basement is there's one door. Like there's not, like you said, all these multiple places that they could come in. You watch that one door, you keep that one door secured, your chances of survival might be a little bit better than having to deal with, especially that house was a big house. So there's a lot of
Right.
windows, like a lot of basements, a lot of doors that the zombies could get in. And obviously, like we said, some of them have some kind of intelligence because we had the one homeboy that like tried to break into the car that Barbara locked herself into with a brick. So it's like, how long you safe is pretty much thing here. And while boarding things up, like I said, Harry and Helen decide to go in the basement. They stay down there. Everybody else stays in the upstairs part of the house. Ben finds a radio. I almost said TV, but that's oh no, he does. They do find a TV actually. I think right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think first then they find a radio, then they found a TV, or there was already a radio in the house.
The radio was already like,
Yeah,
we're
and
saying
then they went
radio
upstairs.
connect.
Yeah, and I think when he went upstairs to go find and board stuff up, they found the TV. Then they brought the TV down. They were kind of watching, and like at first, like they kind of were saying, the news reporters were saying, first we said, kind of like stay in your house behind locked doors. Now, you got to try to get to the nearest, shelter. They were starting to build shelters and stuff like that around the cities that were being attacked. So they come up with the plan where they're going to try. I guess there's a gas pump in the yard of the house that they're in, so they're going to try to fill up the truck with gas, and they're going to try to make it to the nearest whatever word I just said. Shelter. Jesus.
Yeah.
They're trying to make it to the nearest shelter, so they can obviously get help and stuff like that. Ben, Tom, and Judy decide they're gonna go fill up the gas tank. They head out there, and like gas somehow they try to like put in the gas in the car, and then like I forgot what actually happens, but like gas gets all over the car. And then, they couldn't get the lock off because the keys that they found to the gas pump wasn't the right thing. So their smart idea was like, oh, we're going to shoot the lock to try to get the lock off so we can get the gas out, and then kaboom goes the truck. Am I right on that, or am I mixing them up?
No, that was the remake. The first one, the truck caught on fire.
Well, I thought they both caught on fire, but
they did. But in the remake, oh boy, because Tony Todd stayed in the field, like, what the fuck are you about to do?
Yeah,
and oh boy, it's loose with the shotgun. But the original,
right keys, and then he shoots the lock, and then
right in the original, Ben's like, dude, watch the torch, and it just kind of lit up the truck.
Right, that's right. Okay,
try to get it away from the gas pump, and he's trying to put out the fire, and it just caught them both.
Public service announcement: when you're doing original versus remake, don't watch the movies back to back. Pretty much, they get all jumbled, especially these two, because they're pretty much the same damn movie. Besides a couple of adjustments in the remake, but other than that, it's pretty much the same damn movie.
Either way, we lost both of those individuals.
Yeah, so Tom
Ben's stuck out in the middle of nowhere trying to make it back to the house.
Yeah,
with all the zombies on his ass.
On the inside of the house, we still have Harry and Helen. Helen goes downstairs to check on their daughter. She find out she's like not there. Yeah. Oh fuck! God damn it! I'm like mixing them up again. Helen goes down first, right? Or is it Harry?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Helen goes down. We're pretty much towards the end of it now. We get Ben inside. Ben and Harry are tying up. Helen goes downstairs to check on the daughter, and she's not there. And that's where we get one of those iconic scenes of this little girl, like zombified, kind of walking towards the mom and shit. What I thought was interesting is she picked up I'm not quite sure what that tool's called. It's not
like a little shovel. Yeah.
I see that a lot in my concrete work, but I'm not quite sure what it's called.
The little dirt shovel.
but she stabs Mom to death. She never bit her. She never tried to eat her. She just shanked her and left her to die.
Yeah. I couldn't remember which one went first because I think after that, then when she dies, I know Ben and Harry have this another altercation because that's pretty much what this whole movie is. And then he ends up shooting. Ben ends up shooting Harry. Then doesn't he fall in the basement? And then
Yeah,
I think
Harry
his
goes
daughter
down the
gets him.
basement. hmm
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Barbara lost to her brother actually because the
Yeah,
door gets left open. She gets pulled out into the masses.
yeah. And then Ben's able to somehow lock himself and keep himself alive till the next morning, until he gets shot in the
Ben went
fucking
down
head.
to the basement.
Oh yeah, that's
Ben
what it
went
was.
down
Yeah,
to
that was the
the basement.
basement. Yeah, I forgot that's what he did in this
And
one and the next one.
what I liked was this wasn't just a straight through comedy film or a horror film. Like we were constantly taking breaks to go see what like they were doing in the field, stuff like that, and seeing how the group was interacting, like trying to take down the undead and stuff like that. And that's what made Ben come up is because that group had finally made it to the house. He heard the banging around. He comes up and he's like, "Cool, thank God you're pop." And they popped him thinking he was a zombie.
Yeah, that was I remember the first time when the very first time I watched that, I was like, damn, like no happy ending whatsoever. Like you think at least one of them's gonna make it out alive, and he just right in the that's a pretty damn good shooting by that guy who shot him because he was on the
Oh yeah,
outside, and I think he had the
right.
smallest little hole to
Oh
get
yeah,
him.
because the whole boy was like, "I think I see movement. Let's take the shot." Okay, and dropped him dead where he stood.
I guess it makes sense because you don't really know. You don't know who's who, like who's what, and you just see movement in the house, and you can't really, take. I mean, if it's only one of them, you'd think that you got a big group of people. You should be able to. If it's one of them, you should be able to, go in and knock them off pretty easily. But the guy's just like, "Fuck it, I ain't taking any chances." Just blows the guy's head off. And
Well, I mean, like, unfortunately, that's kind of a mistake on both sides. Like, we weren't necessarily expecting survivors, so we weren't really looking for them. And it's, you know, he sees a crowd. Well, he's been fighting off a crowd all night, so it's not like he's going to start shouting, "I'm a survivor."
yeah,
So there were just faults on both sides.
so um, pro- probably one of the most, not one of the most, but like especially for a genre of the zombie genre, probably one of the more influential movies. Um, it's it has a definite slow pace. Obviously, it's more about a lot of, I mean, obviously there's the zombies, but like a lot of the conflict really is between Harry and Ben. Is where a
Oh,
good
yeah.
chunk of the conflict is. Um,
No, this is
but
definitely like a human versus zombie kind.
unhuman. Um, I can't see them, so
Um, so like the chat's been pretty cool. Like they've been talking about the whole Bloodborne and just kind of going through a whole big scientific spiel about the whole thing. Um, and there's just so much to read. But they brought up like a lot of cool points on infection, why it could have turned somebody different, stuff like that. Immune system versus blood types and stuff. Actually, really interesting. Let's see. Let's see, like the little girl's young, strong immune system would fight the virus, saying that's like maybe that's what took her so long to turn and stuff. Um, while the older, weaker immune system could not fight the virus for that long. Let's see. I'm also pointing out the fact of where on your body being bit, maybe being what takes so long.
The one thing, like at least with this movie, like the way they kind of explain it is because it had something to do with something that was coming back from Venus.
Radiation.
Yeah. So it's like the part of it is like I don't know if does it not technically affect the living? It sounds like it just mainly affects the dead. So it's like I don't know if something that like you being alive and your body fighting a virus, I don't know if it really has much to do with it, because I think it only really affects the living or the dead. I'm sorry.
And I mean, and right, they said as soon as somebody dies, they're gonna pop right back up and shit,
And the way they were saying it was like freshly dead bodies, because it didn't really seem like they were coming from the graves. They were like a lot of them were. At least this is what I remember hearing from
which
the movie.
Is weird, right? Because like they pointed out, it's like fresh, but then so we just got a couple coffins standing around in the cemetery where Barbara and her brother were. Like, you know what I mean?
That could have been happening because we could have had like a actual funeral procession going on. So somebody freshly was either in a coffin getting ready to get lowered in, or in a hearse, because I think there was a hearse that she ran up to and it was empty.
Right.
So,
and I mean, and somebody even said the virus really could have come from anywhere, because the whole situation was we think it's the radiation, because that was the only thing that had recently changed. And so we were just kind of like, well, that's new, must be that. But even during those times where they switched back to the doctors and the military kind of walking down in front of the reporters, they're like, dude, we said we weren't sure yet. Stop fucking talking. So I kind of dug it, because you never really fucking knew. It was all just a constant up in the air kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, and because I even agreed with him that I thought it was cool. Bunny Bear pointed out, I always love that they connected the Night of the Living Dead remake to the Dawn of the Dead remake in the newscast. Makes me feel kind of cozy for some reason. And it's true. Like, it was just. Sorry, I was about to have something told to me and stopped. So I thought that was kind of cool that they connected it that way. And like Bunny Bear's right, it does. It kind of makes it feel like a warm spot that they found that way to kind of put them together.
It's good with the continuity. Like it brings it all together and because I mean, obviously we've had sequels and remakes and stuff like that, so it just kind of brings all of it together as one big story, as opposed to like separate movies.
Right.
So, but speaking of bringing it all together, let's segue to the trailer. So, right now, trailer.
This is the latest disclosure in a report from National Civil Defense Headquarters in Washington. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder.
I know you're afraid. I'm afraid too. But we have to try to board the house up together.
That's my point. Well, there's not going to be 5 or even 10. There's going to be 20, 30, maybe 100 of those things. And as soon as they know we're here, this place is going to be crawling with them.
This isn't a passing thing, honey. It's not like just a wind passing through. We've got to do something, and fast.
Are they slow moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
And that was the trailer for Night of the Living Dead, or almost Night of the Flesh Eaters. I remember.
I said I dig that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did it. Yes, thank you, Cinema Reaper, for giving us that that little bit of information. I'm sure I probably could find it, but I'm just lazy. So thank you for doing my job for me. Getting into
Now, when we get,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, when we get into the 1990 version, there's really not that much difference in like the playthrough. It's more of like a character change than really anything else.
The story itself is pretty much the same. The characters are pretty much the same names,
Right.
pretty much everything. So we're not going to kind of bore you guys with going through the whole synopsis again. We're going to kind of more touch on some of the differences that this one did than the remake or the original, just because you don't need to hear the synopsis all over again. So this came out in 1990, as we said. This was directed by Tom Savini, which I wasn't familiar with him. I remember him doing this movie, but I didn't really know he directed a lot. So
yeah, neither did I at the time.
So I like I said, I remember him doing it. And plus, when you have somebody like him like on set, with his expertise of makeup, that like right there, and you can obviously tell the big difference in the zombies in this movie than in the original. Like again, the original was the first form of zombies, so they kind of didn't have the full, lineage of like zombies of what they look like, the decaying flesh and all that stuff, kind of what they did here.
Well, I mean, like I don't know, like I mean, like if you think about it, dude, they did some amazing work in the original one. Like you're right, they definitely did not have access to this level of stuff, but I mean, they were working with like chocolate syrup and like raw meat, stuff like that. Like they still pulled off some amazing feats at the time period. And
22 years, yeah.
And if I remember correctly, for like a shoestring budget when he did the first one or did the original.
Yeah.
One of the coolest when you're walking past Tom, that definitely is a bonus to him. Whoa, where are you going? We can fix that.
Yeah. We did have Tony Todd in this version. He played Ben. This is before Candyman, I believe, or right around the same time as Candyman. I think Candyman was 91 or 92. So it would have been a year or so before before that. So I don't know where he was at in his
92.
Yeah, so I thought. So a couple years before Candyman. So like I said, I was like 7 years old in 92, so I really wasn't all up in where Tony, or no, actually no, 90. I would have been 5 when this movie came out. So I don't know where Tony Todd was in his celebrity at the time. So
doing pretty good. He'd been picking up quite a bit of stuff over time, actually.
But a lot of the biggest differences from this one is they really changed Barbara's character a lot. And that's probably one of the more drastic changes. They turned her into Ellen Ripley, kind of.
I was going to say, like it was kind of cool because she became like, the fighter. Like, yeah, she still had her moment like in the beginning where she had to shut down and like stuff like that. So we still kind of played out the shock.
Something popped in my head. I'm sorry. Bill Moseley was in this also. He played Johnny at the beginning.
Yeah.
Brother. It just popped in my head, so I got excited.
Yeah. But no, I mean, like she still had her shock moment like she did in the original, but like she finally stepped out of it, and even to a point where she calls out Tony Todd's character and is like, "You said you wanted me to fight, fucker. I'm here to fight." Yeah. And she's really stepping up, almost more than everybody else, because everybody else is even too busy fighting amongst themselves. She's kind of almost the unspoken lead, trying to like get all this shit going.
Yeah, and they really turned Harry Cooper into some crazy like New York, Brooklyn guy, and it was like I didn't understand why he was going so heavily with like, yo, hey, what you doing up there? I'm going down in the basement, yo. That's kind of what I was getting, the vibe I was getting from him, and I was like, I don't know if I really like this version. I think they tried to make him very unlikable, and they succeeded.
I was gonna say, I think they succeeded because he reminded me a lot of the original.
Oh yeah,
he was very
a little bit.
My way or the highway. He's gonna back the fuck up.
Yeah, he was a little bit more aggressive, I think, in the remake than he was in the original, because he knocked out his wife in the basement. He tried to get the gun from Barbara as she's being like almost torn apart by like bunch of zombies coming through the door. He's like, I'll take this. You go ahead and die. He became a little bit more aggressive. Then it's like a lot of them is like they were the same character turned up to 10 as opposed to in the original.
Well, and I think they also kind of put like a better head on Barbara because she was asking the same questions a lot of us was in the first one. Dude, they're not even going 1 mile an hour. Like we could just walk past. And while that was brought up in the first one, they had a point. Like, hey, the kid's sick, blah blah blah. And that was brought up in the remake, but even she was like, okay, dude, so we lock them down, we buck ass, and we bring back help,
Yeah. They also did a different thing where they kind of put in a little bit of a tie into the house with Tom because it was his uncle's house.
Right.
So we had a little bit of a thing where, okay, well, now we're not at a random house. We are, but at least we kind of know whose house it is this time. It's Tom's relative's house, who we find towards the beginning when Barbara first walks in, is he goes after her, and they kill her, and then they find his cousin upstairs who he had shot himself in the head. And that's where the blood was coming from the scene.
Because in the remake, we all just happened upon the house. Tom and Judy were going to go to like the watering hole to go swim and shit.
Yeah. I see him laughing, which normally equals nothing good. So,
just everybody talking about Bill Moseley and Tony Todd, stuff like that. Chat.
Okay. Yeah,
I somehow missed where the chewing ass again came from.
Bill Moseley. Like I forgot he was in it, and then as soon as I heard him talking when they had that beginning scene when they're driving up there, I'm like, yep, that's Bill Moseley. You can tell his voice.
Oh yeah, and it sucked that he was only in it for so short. But I mean, like, I don't think I could have seen him play like, say, Harry or some shit.
Yeah, no.
So it was kind of just that appreciation of like, well, he's in it. That's fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Getting into the rest of the film, we get a similar escape attempt where they're going to try to, fill up the truck with gas. This time correctly. Tom tries. He has the key and is like, "This isn't the right key," and then he shoots the gas tank like a smart.
I would say you're like, this time correctly. I'm not really sure how taking a shotgun to a.
No, I'm saying I'm correct with this movie. I said
okay,
it's wrong. That's why I said this correctly. No, that's not.
Panic, but I just like I've never thought of like, well, let's just shoot a lock off a gas pump, fucker.
That's what they were in. No, I was gonna say it's a down south thing, but they were in Pennsylvania, so that doesn't really add up there. So we lose Tom and Judy again the same way. I'm playing with my thing. Trying to remember where we go now.
We watch Tony Todd like just actually like going toe to toe with him. He's sitting there like doing body rolls and like sweeping the feet and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Like it really points out everything at that point up till now of what Barbara said. Like, dude, we could just walk past these motherfuckers. He's sitting there taking on like 5 or 6 at a time, and like judo throwing this one, leg sweeping that one. It's like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it, we really could fucking walk past these guys.
He was definitely doing some Bruce Lee shit.
But unfortunately, this is where, like you were talking about, where Barbara's, trying to give him some gunfire as he's coming up towards the house, and her and Harry wind up in that fucking tussle over the gun.
Yeah.
They reach through, they grab her, and he's just like, "Yep, fuck it," and like backs up with the gun. And now Tony Todd's like outside the door trying to figure out how to get into all this shit.
Grab a couple of guns from I think it's like a police officer that was like a zombie, because Ben and Barbara are actually able to get their hands on a gun because, like you said, Harry took theirs, and is pretty much holding them off. Almost looks like he's going to shoot one or both of them. And then they get their hand on the guns, and then they kind of go trade like back and forth with Ben shooting at Harry, Harry shooting at Ben. They're both shooting each other, both getting hit. Harry like decides to run upstairs, and then he gets up into the cellar, kind of like closes himself in there, and that's attic. Yeah. That's kind of the last, at least we think that's the last we see of Harry throughout the movie. Barbara is like, I'm going to make a run for it. She's like you said, she has this idea. She can pretty much outrun these, especially if they got ammo and guns. They can make a run for it.
By now, like the front door's open, and it's just that whole well, fuck, we're at that like kind of no turning back.
Yeah.
Ben's been shot. He can't fucking do it. He's just like, go. Like he's just, I'm here to stay. And so she bucks out and actually makes it to one of the stations that they keep hearing about.
Yeah, she like jumps in the back of a truck, and there's a whole bunch of like zombies there. And I think she sees her brother, I believe, in the truck. That must have got picked up by the group. And then they pick her up. They drive her to their like you said, the bases. And then I don't know what the fuck starts going on. They start having like a fucking carnival or something like that. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Like I really, because like we saw stills of that in the original one, zombie bonfires and stuff like that, which is what's to be expected. Where we keep hearing the entire time on the radio, burn the dead, burn the dead. So all those stills are doing what they're supposed to be doing. But in the remake, it's, she points out, she's like, they are us and we are them. And is that kind of like, are we the monsters? Because we're sitting here having a fucking shootout, like, oh, you hit that one in the head, have a beer. Like we are having way too much fun with the situation.
Yeah, I think there was a place that was selling falafels. I think, not 100% sure, but it literally was like a carnival.
I don't remember there being a falafel truck, but that's not to say that somebody didn't have like a George Foreman on the hood of their car.
Then they need to make another remake and put that in there.
But
I was to say 19. He did. The girl didn't.
That shows how much I know about Foreman and a falafel. So, but no,
I like falafel right now.
I really dug the fucking ending though, because she's just she gets to walk around, and we are watching all these people just have way too much fucking fun. We've got zombies hanging in the trees, and it's fucking shooting and drinking, and just like this is like fucking Tuesday, and she's kind of disgusted by it. And then when she gets to the house, we see Ben come up from the basement. He's a fucking zombie, What I did like, though, is the fact that Harry comes out from the attic, and she's like, oh, look, you're healthy? Yeah, zombie, pop. Go fuck yourself.
He goes, he like grabs her by the shoulders, like, oh, you came back for me. And she's like, no. Here's a bullet to your brain. And
right.
He's dead. I was like, yes! Fuck Harry and his stupid ass.
But I mean, like, so much, like, the story is the same, but the characters are so much different and stronger in this one. You think about it, in the original, it's kind of a timepiece, like guys told women what to do, and women just kind of sat back. You hear Harry's wife constantly fighting with him in the original, and he's like, I said, okay. and she backed the fuck down. But in that remake, it's all about like, okay, look, I don't want to fucking die here. And Barbara's like, I really just want to make a fucking run for it. And all the guys are too busy fucking off to really listen and try to make a better plan.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, like all the characters were like, the story was pretty, like you said, pretty much the same. The characters were turned up to 10 from like their original counterparts. The only one that really got the big overhaul was Barbara, because she went from, being absolutely useless in the original. She was just in shock and dazed the whole movie. This time she, like I said, they Ellen Ripley'd Barbara in the remake and made her the 90s woman hero that they were going for at that time. Which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, but it was nice because like I just felt bad. Like, I'm not saying that not everybody's going to have that level of shutdown, especially, like you just watched your brother die. What looks to be dead is trying to kill you. I'm not saying that people wouldn't shut down, but it was kind of nice because Barbara was such a useless character. Like she really brought nothing to the table story-wise or anything like that in the original. Did I lose you? Buzz? Okay, I think I lost Buzz for a second. He's just like frozen. So, that was weird. Yeah, so let's see. Simon Reaper points out that people say women don't get representation in movies. And like I said, like, that's just it. Like, I really brought a character up like Barbara, and like they're like, dude, she can do shit, And Buzz is back. All right, dude, you can do by myself, man. That shit's not.
I was sitting here and I was talking, and then you guys were frozen on my end, and then my phone was like, "Your internet's stupid. You're kicked out." I was like, "Okay."
Dude, I'm like, okay, Buzz didn't like my comment. Like, he's just sitting there.
That's what you guys were. I was like, I was talking about, I forgot what I was talking about, and then I'm like, you guys haven't moved. So you either guys becoming really good mimes, or my phone was frozen. It was frozen. Statues. There you go. I don't know why I said mimes. I don't know. So what did I miss while I was gone?
I was just saying how I don't know, because like panic kicked in and I really kind of blanked out what I just said for like the last couple seconds. It's like, like.
That's kind of what I was doing, is I was like staring and I was like,
Yeah, no, like I was just kind of like, oh, it was really cool because Barbara was I felt, like I said, I'm not saying that people wouldn't freak out to that level, but it was just cool to like not such a useless character in the first one, because she really, like, she was up there with like a painting on the fucking wall, you know? And I was like, so it was cool to see the remake go, hey, you can still freak out, but you can still fucking rally. And then you were just staring at me. I'm like, I will not point out strong female roles. I don't know what to fucking do here, bro. So
I'm very offended by it. No. Yeah, she was seriously in the original, like the only purpose she served was to introduce the movie, really. Once we got into the house with Ben and all them, she was.
And like, I think that's kind of why it bothered me, because Judy, I can fucking drive. So the three of us are going to the gas pump. Harry's wife, Helen. She's like, there's keys. In the original, she's like tearing shit apart looking for some fucking gas pump keys. And Barbara's making sure the couch don't fucking float. Like, it was just.
Barbara was as useful as a frozen Buzz during a GoreCast Unplugged episode. Not at all.
No, so like, I really liked, as much as I love the original, I really dug the changes that they did to the remake.
Yeah. like, I mean, you're not gonna replace the original. It's like it's a classic. It's gonna be probably one of the godfather of, like, the zombie genre. But they really, updated it fairly well to, like you said, telling the same story, but modernizing it. And I thought they did that very well. So, maybe cut to a trailer, or we need to. Yeah, that's all I think. That's all I really got to say. So I think we're gonna go to a trailer.
They came to pay their respects.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Why do you have to be so cruel?
What?
Show some respect.
Now they're running for their lives.
A biologist in Stockton, California have released reports focusing on the phenomenon, specifically on that trance-like state.
Every shelter is becoming a trap.
Are you sure we're gonna be all right?
Cooper, you gotta help me out!
And every road out
Don't stop no matter what happens.
is just another dead end.
They're coming right for us.
George Romero's Night of the Living Dead.
I will say I kind of dug some of the little nods that they did from the original to the remake, because you think when the little girl killed mom, the camera panned away to that same tool that she used in the first one. We watched the blood hit it. So I really dug the respect that they gave to the first one.
I really enjoy 90s trailer voice guy. Listening to that trailer, in a world where zombies kill people, Night of the Living Dead.
Oh yeah,
I want that job. So any final thoughts that we?
Oh, I got to give my final thought
haven't said.
to. I got to give my final thought to Samuel Reaper. He was like, and people say women don't get representation in movies. What I'm trying to say is, I love to remake Barbara and fuck Captain Marvel. He touched my soul.
He said that.
He said that.
What's wrong with Captain Marvel?
So many fucking things. So many things. I can't stand Brie Olsen, like the whole Captain Marvel thing. Oh, God. That cinema touched the soul, bro. So
that took an unexpected turn. This is the face of someone who's shocked right now. Wearing a do-rag. No, I guess that's it, because we kind of gave our final thoughts throughout the whole episode, so I don't really have anything different to say. So we're going to get into what we got coming for you this week on the GoreCast Unplugged schedule. Thursday, I didn't want to say it at the beginning, but I'm going to say it now. We're doing a John Saxton retrospective. We're going to be taking a look at 3 of his films. We're looking at Blood Beach, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and Enter the Dragon, starring Bruce Lee and John Saxton. So that should be fun. Maybe not fun. Maybe sad. John is excited to do Enter the Dragon, from what I hear.
Oh yeah.
So, Sunday, I don't know what you guys are. You guys doing? Yes. So this Sunday, for the GoreCast Unplugged, Johnny and the Giz will be doing Evil Pregnancies, the episode that they were, or the live stream that they were going to do this past Sunday, but unforeseen circumstances happened. So they're going to do it this weekend. And Tuesday, myself and Carter will be back the original versus remake, and we're going to look at Suspiria.
Which is cool because I've not actually watched either one of them.
And neither have I, so this should be interesting. So,
but Bunny Bear asked when we're going to be doing Dawn of the Dead remake, and no, you did not miss it because we've not covered that yet.
No, this is the first of the Dead that we've done. So, I don't know. Maybe
Rosemary's
soon.
Baby.
Rosemary's Baby. Are we getting? Well, let's do that before we leave. Any suggestions? We did this. A few.
It's really kind of neat when everybody points something out.
Yeah, because I'd rather do what you guys want to watch instead of what I want to watch because you guys are watching us. So
and
might as well.
Bill point out that the Panini, the fuck is that called? Panini Press.
Panini.
There we go. It was did exist in the 1990.
That's not what that was though. That's not a George Foreman grill is not a panini press. Those are two different things.
Right. I
have a George Foreman grill.
I set up with George Foreman.
Yeah. The panini press may have existed, and if they had a panini press there, then that would have been fantastic. But the George Foreman grill is completely different. It's an actual grill that has a top.
All right,
maybe.
So we've got Dawn of the Dead remake, Rosemary's Baby, and Mexican Dracula versus original Dracula. Mexican Dracula.
Color me intrigued.
I cannot place that one. What's the Mexican Dracula movie, Cinema?
It's probably El Dracula.
Because I really can't figure out which one that would be.
We're going to stare at the screen confused until this question is answered.
But now Katie wants a cheese panini. They made the original Dracula with a Mexican cast. I'm going to have to fucking Google that shit. Did not know that.
What I will say is we will look into it. Because it sounds interesting. I'm all for.
Are you talking about Dracula Untold? They made it the same time as the original Dracula. Okay, so I'm gonna have to look up that.
We'll say that that's going to be a TBA to be or TBD to be determined. We're going to look into. My producer has lost his mind and he's just being Mexican Dracula right now. And you can't hear it, but I can, and it's hilarious.
But now Rosemary's Baby and
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead is on our list.
So we'll do Suspiria, and then I think we'll change it up a little bit. We'll do Rosemary's Baby, and then we'll come back to the Dead.
It's been a dog's age since I've seen Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah. So while Johnny's singing Christmas carols in my ears, this is the perfect time to leave you guys because this was a weird one, guys. This was a weird one. I froze. I went to a different dimension. I came back. We talked about Mexican Dracula. We had a good old time.
I'm so fucking curious now.
So until next time, Feliz Navidad, GoreCast out.